Welcome back to another edition of Research Fantasy presents our MLB DFS hitter picks for Friday, April 28th, the second day of the NFL draft. In Research Fantasy news, we have launched a NASCAR premium package. A lot of interesting features, I think, and in-depth breakdown to really help you succeed with your NASCAR game. Rankings, projections. I will be doing a driver-by-driver breakdown after NASCAR practices end on Saturday. Something I don't know if is being done anywhere else, but it gives you a good idea of where, why, and how you should play players or stay away from them. I'm not going to hit that too much in these podcasts, but since we just launched it, I wanted to make mention of it. If you've never played, I'm going to be honest with you, I never really played or paid attention more than just casually up until the start of this season. And it's been really exciting, and I personally feel like it's one of the safer DFS sports to play because I think everything is basically numbers based. It's really kind of easy to see how things will come together. And no, you can't predict accidents or anything like that, but I think it's far more stable than the vast majority of sports, and especially with baseball, the king of variance in DFS. I mean, this is a good way to kind of balance out any negative impact the MLB season in the short term might be giving you. All right, on to what we're actually here to talk about today. Big slate, like I said, really not, as of right now, anything that just jumps out and smacks me in the face and says, hey, play this guy. So that's going to be really interesting, I think, to see where I head with a lot of these picks, because I'm not so sure what situations I like the most. I'm going to cheat a little bit with our guy up top today. I don't know if you necessarily want to call it cheating or not, but let's start out with a guy who's a pretty solid value everywhere tonight, and that's Adam Rosales. And look, I mean, he's not a name that pops out at you and makes you go, wow, okay, yeah, this guy's definitely a guy I need in my lineup. Typically, when Rosales was playing with the Padres, we were looking at him when they put a lefty on the mound. But thus far this year, he's been fairly solid. His production has been a little bit all over the place, but he does possess some power upside. Charlie Morton, not a pitcher that I'm too much of a believer in. I think he's pretty destined to give up 3 to 4 runs, even against a not great Oakland lineup. If I'm looking to save some cash on the position with how Morton's pitched to righties, and again, it's not like the worst thing in the world, and it's a small sample size. 417 WOBA, the bigger stat that I'm interested in, 43.2% hard hit rate, shows guys are really connecting with the ball. Rosales has a lot of undercover power. He's just not a great hitter. It's just like when he makes contact, he can make good things happen. And we're talking about tournament plays here. We're not talking about, well, go ahead and throw Adam Rosales in your cash games. I'd rather spend up $500 and put Andrelton Simmons in. Better matchup, better stadium, but you're looking for a little bit of low ownership, and especially on DraftKings where he's priced at $2,400. And maybe you want to run the pitching combo of Jacob deGrom and Max Scherzer. He's a great guy that'll allow you to get some extra bats in. Moving up, hard not to look at Mike Moustakas tonight. He'll be taking on Kyle Gibson. Kyle Gibson, just not a good pitcher. I'd love to put Eric Hosmer here, $2,600 on FanDuel. Great price. Horrible this year. Just awful. I mean, I don't know what in the world is going on with him, but he's been horrible. And we're almost a month in, so it's kind of like, all right, we need to see something soon here. But Moustakas taking on Kyle Gibson, 432 WOBA, 40% fly ball rate, giving up good hard contact going back to last year. That's something that Moustakas does well. He hits the ball. He's actually been hitting the ball very well. He's been hitting the ball very far. And at his price, I mean, $3,300 and then $3,100 on DraftKings. No respect for Moustakas whatsoever. But he is a guy I definitely want to get in my lineup tonight. I mentioned Andrelton Simmons. The Angels are finally getting a part bump going to Texas to take on the Rangers, who apparently are going to play every single game at home this year, because I literally don't remember a situation where they haven't been in their park. But, now we get an Angels team that's not great taking on a pitcher in Nick Martinez, who's pitching over his head once again to start out the year this year. Hard to not like Mike Trout going to this positive hitting environment, taking on a pitcher that is substandard. I think that with Trout's price, Scherzer on the mound, a couple of good, Carrasco's got some pretty solid upside at the pitching position. DeGrom, as I mentioned, people kind of love Stroman. Robbie Ray with the strikeouts, Samardzija against the Padres. Like, the point I'm trying to make is there's a lot of guys you could spend up on, especially on DraftKings, where you have to put two pitchers, that could cause you to not be able to make a lineup that you like with a guy like Trout in it. But to me, he's a clear play. Like I said, you can't look at the 2017 stats and say that Nick Martinez is going to shut this team down. He could. I don't think it's likely. Trout, such a great hitter, moving to a positive hitter park. This spells a big game to me. I really don't think he's had like a monster game yet this year where he just completely blows it out of the water. He's definitely had a bunch of good games, but looking back at the game logs, I mean, he's yet to break the 30-point mark. Trout is a guy who's good for these games that go into the 40s and 50s when he really gets rolling, because he's fast and he's powerful. So you have, extra base hit upside, stolen base upside. Definitely a guy that I feel comfortable building my teams around tonight. Don't know where his ownership lands. It lands a lot lower than it should be more often than not. That's all I know. So once again, top 3 guys to slot into tournaments. Adam Rosales is a punt. Let's move on to Mike Moustakas in a great matchup with Kyle Gibson, and Mike Trout because he's Mike Trout. Thanks for watching today. Make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel below. Head over to researchfantasy.com. Sign up for our MLB mailing list. Like us on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter at Research and Win. And join us again tomorrow.